Hi YouTube, my name is Jackie. I'm new at this, so I ask that you all be patient with me. But I wanted to start a YouTube channel for teens who are going through. Teens who are going through in their homes, in their schools, on the streets, wherever and whatever you're going through. I want to be your outlet. I want to be an outlet to you. I want to be a voice for you. And I also want to be a listening ear to you. I want to first off tell you guys a story about me, my life, and some of the things that I've been through, and the reason why I feel that I can help guide you to the best of my ability. So if you're in a situation at home, be it you have a mother who's on drugs, a father who's on drugs, parents who aren't there, you're being sexually harmed, physically, emotionally, verbally, just being harmed in any type of way, and you don't seem to know how to find your way through, I want to be a voice for you, that you can make it through all the chaos, through all the trials and tribulations, through everything that life is throwing at you, through that home that's chaotic, in that home that's loud, aggressive, again, abusive, where there's no peace, and there's frustration, and there's anger and malice. I want to let you know that you can make it. You can make it. You as an individual can make it. You may not feel that there's no way out, that there's not better, but keep pushing. One day you'll grow into an adult, and you should be able to learn from what your parents went through, learn from what your parents took you through, learn from that bad situation that you went through. And without further ado, I want to tell you about my upbringing and my situation. I was, how can I put this? I was born to a mother who had issues. Things happened to her, and she just had a lot of issues. And so, me being the second oldest of 6, I seen a lot, I heard a lot, and I had to help my mom out a lot. My mom, as my family and some of my people who I'm acquainted with knows that my mom she was on drugs, and she drank a lot. But I love my mom. I love my mom, but like I said, she had issues. And she would always allow us to go visit with my grandfather, who I call Daddy. He was a great man, good man. He was a fair man. He taught me pretty much everything that I needed to know about survival, about life, and he taught me so much. You know, he was just a good, positive man in my life. He was a hard man, but he was a good man. He was an honest man, and he only wanted better for us. And my grandfather, he always talks to us, always talked to us about just different things. Every day was a learning experience that I was able to be with my grandfather. My grandfather sent me over to, I'm sorry, my mom allowed me and my oldest sibling to go and stay with my grandfather. Every weekend, he was taking care of two other children that he adopted, his two other grandchildren that he pretty much adopted. And so we were like companions, siblings to them. So it was always, sometime it was pretty much the four of us that he really raised and took care of. And the story that I'm about to tell you, I don't want nobody to take anything away from my grandfather. He was a good man. And he would do anything for us, anything that wasn't right or somebody was doing us wrong. My grandfather would make sure to make the wrong right. Excuse me, I'm laying down, kind of tired. But anyway, so without further ado, again, in I would say 1986, I was about 6. I was about 6 years old. No. I'm sorry. And I would say about 1985, sorry, yes. In 1985, I was about 6 years old. It could be a little off by a year or so. But I was 6 years old. And my life changed. My life changed drastically. I was at my grandfather's house. Excuse me. And so, as normally, I would go over his house every weekend. And this particular weekend that I was there, my grandfather had stepped out. And growing up in that neighborhood, we was safe. We was always cared for. We was okay. We were children that did what they were told. So we never had problems if he needed to step away from the home. Everything was pretty much in control. And this particular time that I was there, he had left one of his children home, I guess, or they stayed at home to, I guess they was just there to watch us or what have you. And it was my mom's youngest brother, her baby brother, to be exact, that watched us. Again, my life changed drastically. I was playing in the house, and I saw my uncle touching himself. And me being a child, it was funny. He was laying on his back, and I was just a little girl. I was curious as to what he was doing. So I peeked in the room, and I run out, and I'd peek again, come back, peek again, and run out. And it became a game. It became a game for us children that was there. And I don't want to say names because this story is not about them. It's about me and what I went through. But it became a game that day. And it was like I was running around in a circle in the house. And I wanted to see closer what he was doing, because now he had something in his hand, which at the time I didn't know what it was, but today I fully understand what it was, and it was his penis. Had it in his hand, and he was just playing with it, and I was curious. So I'll go up and I'll look, and I'll run out the room, and the house goes around in a circle. It was a small house, and I'll run back in the room, and I wanted to see closer, and then I wanted to touch. So I would hit him, and I'll run around the circle, and then I'd hit him again, and I'd run. And I kept doing this, and eventually he grabbed me and put my hand on him to feel him. And so I run out. Then I run back around, and he'll grab me again, and he want me to feel it. And the more I ran around, the more he would grab me. But as the time that I went around, he would grab it. He wanted me to sit with him and hold it in my hand. Since I was so curious, I guess he felt like, well, I want you to get the feel of what you have. And so that went on pretty much throughout the afternoon. And as I got tired, I sat on the couch, and he began to call my name. Now he wanted me to come and sit with him for about, I would say, about what felt like a long time, but it became boring, because here I am, this little girl. I don't want to do this no more. This is boring. But I would have to sit with him for about a little under 5 minutes, and just hold his stuff and touch it. And as the years went by, as the days went by and the years went by, but I'm sorry if I'm just skipping. I'm trying not to skip, but I would say as the days went by, and again, we come over every weekend, and if it was a break, or, we would stay over for longer than just the usual Friday, Saturday, and come home on Sunday. So he started wanting me to put my mouth on it. So I began to give him oral pleasure as this little girl. And that went on for a long time. Then it went from the touching to the oral to now he would follow me now he would boldly come over to my mom's house, and he would still want me to hold him and pretty much give him oral sex. He would never perform it on me, but he would want me to give him oral sex. I guess because I was so young. As those times went by, some years went by, I guess I was old enough now. I'm no longer this 6-year-old little girl. I'm I would say about 9. He proceeded to groom me. And when I say groom me, it's just the only word that I can use to describe what he would do to me. But he would now try to penetrate me vaginally. And I'm 9, so it's not going through, it's not going in. So it took a while. It took a long while. It took a long time before it went in. But it was very painful. Very painful, very painful. And I went through that. And my mom eventually moved away from her small town in Arkansas and took us to California. And my uncle proceeded to come to California, to where we were, and proceeded to again attempt to try to move in with us. And my mom allowed him to move in with us after years of sexual abuse in Arkansas. Yet my mom still didn't know what was going on in Arkansas. But this man moved in with us in California. At that time, I was 16 years old. And he moved in a couple of days before my 16th birthday. He knew that my birthday, what date my birthday was on. It was said around the house. So he knew that my birthday was coming up. Again, he was only there, I guess, the night before I turned 16. He had moved in or came by to stay over, I don't know. But he came into my room and proceeded to have sex with me. He proceeded to have sex with me. I want to rewind a little bit and go back and say, when I left Arkansas, I was 12. And though my uncle penetrated me, he still wasn't able to, I would say, go all the way in. He went in halfway, but he wasn't able to go all the way in. And I just feel like he wanted that. He wanted to do that. And when he came to California, he had his mind set on getting with me. So when he came to California and he stayed with us the day before my 16th, he proceeded to try to have sex with me. And I told him no several times. I was like, no. You know, I don't want to do this. I'm turning 16 tomorrow. I don't want to do this. No, stop, no. And he still proceeded to try to have sex with me. And I just wasn't having it. Let's rewind again. When I heard that, when my uncle moved in with us, I'm sorry, I definitely got to rewind. When my uncle moved in with us in California, I was not comfortable because I was turning 16. So I proceeded to speak to a lady who I very much so respected. Her name is Jacqueline Morrison out of California. And I told her some things that I had been needing to tell her for years. She had been just mentoring me, loving me, caring on me, taking care of me, anything that I needed, she was there. And didn't know that she was grooming me. Didn't know that she had talked to my mom several years prior and told her that something had happened to me and that she was going to find out what it was. Didn't know any of that, but I knew this lady was very interested in me, something that nobody, other than my grandfather, but nobody really ever was that quite interested in me personally. My grandfather, he raised me to be independent. He taught me life lessons. But Pastor Jacqueline, she taught me self-love, self-respect. She taught me to speak up for myself and keep my head up, because I always kept my head down. And she taught me so much about me. I didn't know nothing about me. I didn't think me mattered. I didn't think nobody cared about me. You know, the me. And so I went to her and I told her that I had something that I needed to tell her. This had been on my heart for years to tell her. And I guess it was that aha moment. I asked her, I called her. And I don't normally call her, especially during the week. I know she's busy. She was busy at that time. So I wouldn't call her, but I called her. And I told her I needed her to meet me after school. I needed to talk to her. It was very important that I talk to her. And I told her, I said, Pastor Jacqueline, I said, I got something I want to tell you. And I told her, I broke down crying. I said, my uncle's been molesting me all my life. And I told her everything that he did to me from the first day to until the time he moved in with us. I told her that everything he did, I told her. And she wasn't shocked, but she was just like, this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been waiting on. And she asked me she asked me where he was, and I said, he's at my house, at my mom's house. She said, well, we need to tell your mom. When do you want to tell your mom? I said, I'll just tell her on Sunday when we come to church. That time I think it was a Friday, or it was a Friday. I'm gonna say a Friday. And I told her that I'll wait till. She said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, I'm sure. I'll wait till Sunday." And she said, "Do you want to come and stay with me? You want to come and stay with me and my family until Sunday? You can come stay with us." And I said, "No, I never wanted to leave my siblings. I had 4 younger siblings at home, and I couldn't think to sleep knowing that he was in the house with my siblings." So I told her no, I didn't want to go. And I never would really leave my siblings like that. So I told her I didn't want to go. So come Saturday night, that's when he proceeded to get in my bed with me. Even though I had a sprained ankle, couldn't move out of my bed, he proceeded to get in bed with me and try to force himself on me. Literally force, after I told him no so many times. Like, he wasn't listening. He was still pulling down my underwear. He was still trying to force himself in. And I kept telling him no. I was like, it's my 16th birthday. Please, no. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Stop. No, just stop. And I just told him, just stop. And I got up and I walked downstairs and I went. And mind you, my mom was in the house with me and my siblings. But this is the type of person that, I don't know, he wanted to do what he wanted to do. And so Sunday came and Pastor Jacqueline, she saw me in the parking lot and she said, nothing happened, did it? I said, yes, it did. And she said, I guess she was upset. And she said, when? And I said, Saturday night. He tried to force himself on me. And so she said, get your mom now. We need to talk in my office. So before church, before anything could start, it was a conversation. I went and got my mom, and I told her. My mom broke down crying. And Pastor Jacqueline, she drove us to the police station where I told a police officer what my uncle had did to me and what he had did to some of my other family members. I told the police officer, and they went to arrest my uncle, and that was my story. That was my story of sexual abuse. That was my story of not only sexual abuse, but rape. I couldn't say I was hurt. I just was tired. I was tired of the abuse, and I had to put a stop to it. 'Cause so many times I was quiet and I allowed this. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, why did you wait so long? And why you were 16? Well, I was afraid, I was afraid to open my mouth and say anything. I thought that I would get in trouble. I thought that, it was something that I caused and, I'm the blame. This 6-year-old girl and these other little kids who also was affected by this situation. We thought that we were going to get in the biggest trouble. We come from a family that don't speak. We come from a family that they don't talk. I've heard bits and pieces. I pull things out of my mom to just get her history on who the family is and how they operate. And I wasn't willing to operate how they operate. I have 2 kids of my own, and I just wasn't really willing to take that chance to not give my children a voice. I didn't have a voice growing up. It was always be seen, not heard type situation. It was always do as I say, not as I do type situation. Couldn't talk amongst adults, or we just didn't have a voice. We didn't have a place. Kids don't have, quote unquote, a place, and I just wasn't willing to accept that. No, I couldn't accept that. I never want my children to be hurt the way that I was hurt, in any type of hurtful manner. I just couldn't see it. Couldn't see it happening to them, So I teach my children different. I've given my children their own voices and allow them to use their voices, because if I was allowed to use my voice, this abuse probably would have stopped years ago. The abuse of my body, the abuse of who I was. I feel like I was just used and tortured. And I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. I've seen the abuse, not only that he did to me, but that he did to others. I've seen that. And I just never want anybody else to go through that. So I tell my story, and I say, if you're going through sexual abuse, tell someone. Tell your principal at school if you can't tell your mom and dad. If you're afraid to tell your mom and dad because of what they might do to you, whether it be positive or negative, tell your parents if you're able to. If they're sober enough, tell them. But tell them with, I suggest you tell them with another outside adult, like I say, a principal, a pastor, a teacher, somebody who's calm and that's stable in their mind, that's not going to immediately go and retaliate with physical harm or do something that everyone will regret. Tell somebody that you're being sexually abused. Tell me. Call me, FaceTime me. Find a way to get in touch with me. If you can't tell, you don't know of an adult in your community, you don't know of one person that you can call on, get in touch with me. I'll be glad to help you, and we can go from there. If you're being physically abused, or if you have a sibling that's being physically abused in the home, Tell somebody. Tell somebody at school. Tell somebody at church. Tell somebody. Don't be a hush girl or a hush boy. Don't be that. Don't be that. Nobody's going to be upset with you. Nobody's going to be mad with you and accuse you. And if they do, then that's an issue they have within themselves that's not right. And you keep telling. You keep telling until somebody hear you, until you get the help that you need. If you're just in a home where your mother is just, or your father, they're on drugs or alcohol, and you need somebody to talk to, I can be that shoulder. I can be that listening ear. And you will make it. You can make it. I was raised up in that abuse. I saw family members be abused in the worst way. I saw drugs and alcohol in my home. I lived without lights, water, and gas. I lived through all the abuse, but at the end of the day, I still love my mom. I still love my dad. I love my granddad. And I still love family. And I made it. I made it. I made it. And if I can make it, you can make it. If I can make it, you can make it. Don't give up on life. Don't give up on life. Don't give up on school. There were so many times that I went to school and didn't have proper attire or didn't have that push. No, I didn't, nobody pushed me to go to school. I went when I could. There was times I couldn't go for other reasons, but I went and I pushed through, and I graduated high school, and I've had some college experience, and I've had a lot of trades, but I pushed. I didn't give up on life. Don't give up on life. Don't give up on life, and don't give up on God. God will always be there. In the darkest hour, when it seemed like, Lord, where are you? A lot of things that I went through in my childhood, I never questioned God. My grandfather kept us in church, and I never questioned God, the things that I was going through. But I knew that there was going to be better, that I was going to grow up one day. And you might be that teenager that's thinking you stuck. You're going to grow up one day. You might think, well, I have a kid. Keep pushing for your child. Keep pushing for your child. Only think the positive out of life. You can be a male or a female. Young teen boys and young boys go through the same thing in emotions as young girls. And a lot of people don't see that. They always feel like, oh, he's a boy, man up. But he hurts too. He needs to. He wants to. And like I said, just keep pushing. God is going to see you through. I made it. And again, I know that you can make it. And I have so many parts to my story and my life that I want to share with a lot of people. That I feel like will help them, help young people, and maybe some adults who are being neglectful with their children and just need a turnaround. Some adults who are still drinking and drugging, who needs a turnaround because their children are just lost, they're neglected, and they're just there waiting on you. I'm just here to help. Like I said, this is my first time. I just wanted to share my story of abuse and triumph. And I love you guys. I'll be back. This is my YouTube channel. I want to see how this story goes. And if it goes well and I can reach other people, I would love to tell more about my life. and some of the things that I've overcome. Prior to my uncle molesting and raping me, prior to that, I was abused by a woman, by a woman that from my mom's first husband. Yes, by a woman. Several times, she abused me, and I would like to talk about that on one of my stories. And I do want to share part 2 of this story, the abuse that my the effects of the abuse, the molestation and rape by my uncle. I want to share the part 2 of this story because I want to let you all know what the outcome became. As far as now that I have said something and my family found out, I want to share with you guys part 2. And I want to share with you guys the reaction of what I felt like was the reaction from my family once they found out that I was being abused by my uncle, their brother. So I'll be back. Love you guys, and I hope to chat with you guys many more times. Hope that I'm able to help many teenagers. It doesn't just have to be within the home. It could be things in school, whether it's peer pressure, people trying to talk you into doing things like drugs, alcohol, fighting, misunderstandings. I want to be there for teens. So, again, like, comment, subscribe, however this works. Hit me up. Let me know if you want to hear part 2. I might do it tonight because I told myself that I would get everything out before 2019 hits. So I want to, so I might share part 2 before I go to sleep. So I'm just going to take a break. And I will come back to you guys, okay? All right, bye-bye.